everyone, I'm Larissa Russell of Creative You, and I'm your host of the Creative Soul Healing Podcast. Here's where we talk about the connection between creativity and healing by interviewing amazing creatives, spectacular healers, and inspiring people who have used creativity in their healing. What does it mean to be creative? What is creativity? You don't have to write a best-selling book or paint a masterpiece or even play in a rock band. Creativity is in everything that we do, in the ways we think, in the way we run a business. In our everyday lives, we are creative all the time. Let's talk about how we are creative and how creativity helps us heal mentally, physically, and emotionally, right now on the Creative Soul Healing Podcast. Hey everyone, Larissa Russell of Creative You Healing. Welcome to the Creative Soul Healing Podcast. Today I have with me Susan Yeates. Susan was part of our second annual Loving, Healing, Creating Summit we ran in February and shared with us mindful mandalas. You can still get access to the summit at www.creativeviewhealing.com. Susan is a printmaker, online art tutor, author, and also a yoga teacher. She has published a number of books on art and creativity, as well as delivering online courses and a special Inspire membership group that helps to keep people inspired on a regular basis. Susan loves to combine mindfulness and yoga with sketching and believes that art can have a wonderful power to heal and help us to relax and enjoy life a little more. One of her big projects is an annual sketchbook challenge, January each year, that invites absolutely anyone and everyone to join in and sketch every day for 30 days in a row on a set prompt. Susan sells her own prints and work via her website and teaches all her techniques and specialisms in linocut online as well. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you very much.
For our listeners, I've probably said this a few weeks in a row now, but I am really struggling with reading bios lately. I'm not sure what that is, so I apologize. I come on, at this point laughing because it's like I can't do it. So, welcome and thank you for your patience, Susan.
Oh, you're absolutely welcome. It's no problem at all.
So, can you share some of your story and the path that's brought you here?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I suppose it starts when I was a kid. When I was young, I've always loved sketching, always loved drawing. I can remember when I was really young, just having little sketchbooks that I used to draw in, and it just being a place and a time that I was really happy, and I felt the most me. And I've carried on doing sketching and drawing and art throughout school, and then I went on to do a printmaking degree at university. So I specialised in all printmaking subjects and had a fabulous studio, access to all these wonderful presses and tools and things that I would die to have now, that they're just absolutely amazing. That, I've got my little home studio here and I don't have half of the beautiful equipment that we had at university. So yeah, I trained and specialised in printmaking, and then I came out of university and kind of thought, oh, what do I do? I've done an art degree and I did fine art, so I haven't specialised in a vocation, and most of the career advice was go and teach. And I didn't want to teach in terms of a school environment. That wasn't for me. I always thought kids weren't my thing, although I have children now. And I do love kids and I do teach kids on the side. But at the time, when I was in my early 20s, I didn't feel that a teaching career was what I wanted to do. And my art actually just got kind of put to the side. I did little bits, I dabbled. I never let it go. It was my thing I loved, the thing that sparked and sort of kept me sane when I was doing, I suppose, serious careers or real jobs, as other people say. I say that in inverted commas with a bit of tongue-in-cheek, real jobs, because art is a real job. But I think in terms of a traditional career path as advised when you're at university, doing art or running your own business isn't necessarily a career that is, advised, because it is so individual and kind of guided by your own skills and, where life takes you, basically. And I think I sort of continued doing art. I did start teaching when I was in my early 20s and sort of learnt that I had a real passion for teaching other people, grown-ups, adults, and getting people who'd never done art before interested in art. And it really made me excited. And just seeing people sort of, I think with printmaking, when you lift the paper for the first time, when you peel a print up and there's that kind of, wow moment. It just gives me goosebumps thinking now. It's a really exciting thing. And I think that really sparked my love of creativity, and also showing everybody that everyone is creative and that you can all have a go, and it's so wonderfully good for us, especially in the world that we're in at the moment. I know this is I'm a bit of a long answer to a short question. But basically, I think over the years, as I did my serious job, my art kind of dwindled, and it gradually got less and less and less until I really wasn't doing anything at all. And then I had my little girl 4 years ago, and it kind of completely shifted and changed my whole view. And I basically sold my shares in another business I had, and I just went, no, that's it. All I want to do is do art, teach people about art, get people creating. And this is what made me start the sketchbook challenge 4 years ago, because I just believed it was, if I was going to work and be away from my little girl, I wanted to do something I was so passionate about, and excited other people, inspired other people, that just felt like I was doing something worthwhile, and that was really, really me, not just doing something because I had to earn money, because I didn't want to be away from my little girl for the sake of it. I was like, I need a really, really good reason. And I think for me, I found my, my calling, my passion in the last 4 years. Although I already had it, I already knew all this stuff. I think, becoming a mum and having responsibilities shifts, for me, it definitely shifted my priorities and kind of said to me, sort your stuff out. This is what you're all about. Get on with it. And I was like, that's it. So, and that's where I am now. I'm in my home studio. I teach, I write books on art. You said the stuff in my bio, that's what I do. And every time I touch anything arty, it does well, and people get inspired as well. So that's sort of a summary of my my path so far. That makes some sort of sense.
I love that too, because so often, especially as women, we will drop what's important to us because we have to have that, we're responsible, and we have to have, things in place, like a job with benefits and, all of those sort of things. And to strike out on your own because you knew you had to be passionate if you're going to take time away from your daughter, I think is really important. It really, and I hope other women listening are hearing that. Right?
Absolutely. And I've heard so many stories of women that find their creative side or believe in it so much more because they have children. And my business now fits in so well with my home life, my little girl. I can spend more time with her. And now that she's 3.5, nearly 4, she's in the studio, she's doing printing, and she's like my little mini me, my little sidekick. And it's going to be great for her, because hopefully she will learn that creativity is for everybody. And a little person's mind, a toddler, is just the most amazing sponge of, yeah, sure, I'll just have a go. And they don't mind if they rip up the bit of paper they've just done this drawing on. They just have no inhibitions. They're just creating for the purity of creating. And I think that has been eye-opening for me as well. It's mindfulness in its absolute purest form. They're here in the moment. 5 minutes ago, they've forgotten that. The future, they don't care. They're just painting this, and they'll rip it up the next minute. And gosh, if us adults were quite so just free and sort of mindful, it would be absolutely amazing. So I think having a little one for me has been a real eye-opener.
Yeah, absolutely. I stopped and started my businesses, numerous times when my kids were growing up. Always had creativity in our lives, everything creative. And both my daughters have their own businesses now. So I'd like to think that creativity that we had in the home was part of that, right?
I think it is, because I think if you run your own business, you have to be creative. You have to come up with, and like creative is a big generic term. It's not just drawing or painting or doing art. It's creative thinking. And I think as a business owner, you have to have lateral thinking and creative solutions to problems. And obviously in the current times where, my other business, I run a pottery cafe, is shut. We're completely shut at the moment. We've had to shift to doing online sales and delivering baskets. We've had to shift and become creative with our business. And I think creativity is a very important mindset, especially when you run your own business. And having that way of thinking can only stand anyone in good stead, whether you're in a traditional job, an employment, a career in that sort of way, or you're self-employed. It's a mindset that is incredibly beneficial.
Yeah, absolutely. And I constantly am saying that about creativity being in everything we do, right? And so just the more we can bring creativity into our life, how important
Absolutely,
it is.
100% agree with you.
Yeah, yeah. So then what does healing with creativity mean to you?
So that's a very good question, because I think also because I trained as a yoga teacher several years ago. So I've been teaching yoga. I've stopped currently because I'm not doing face-to-face classes, and I have a toddler, so I don't have a quiet space in my home to teach online classes. But I think that really learnt me, that's terrible English, really taught me how certain things and sort of mindfulness and just being in the moment can heal people in terms of soothing the nervous system, calming the body. And I think I've always subconsciously done healing through creativity without really knowing that's what I was doing. Because when I pick up, it can be absolutely anything. I've got a new art hobby every week. 1 minute it's this, the next minute I'm into crochet, then I'm into this, that, and the other. I'm going to make jewelry next week. It's, one creative hobby after the other. But I think the essential thread running through it is you get lost in the activity. And getting lost in the activity, you forget the past, you forget the present, you're just in the moment, and all your worries, your stresses, all that stuff just kind of, it doesn't evaporate, it doesn't go away completely, but for a moment it's gone because you're lost in the moment. And I think I learned a lot of that through my yoga training, but then identified that that is also what happens through creativity. And I feel that at the moment I'm quite lucky to be able to combine the two in some way. So I can be creative with my yoga teaching, but I can also bring in a mindfulness and a kind of holistic approach to art, because I'm whenever I teach, whenever I do anything, I'm not always about technical skills. Yes, you learn technical skills, but I'm actually more about the process of doing it, enjoying the process, enjoying the now, and getting benefits out of just picking up the pen, the pencil, and spending some time doing that. So I think creativity has a huge power to heal. And over the last year, since I've run a couple of sketchbook challenges, I run one in April, one in September, ran one in January 2021 as well, I've had messages from people who have come out of being in intensive care because of COVID, and then they found a sketching challenge and they've done some art, and it's kind of, it's not cured them, of course it hasn't. Medicine is brilliant, but mentally it has boosted them, and it's given them not a purpose, but it's given them something to get lost in that is incredibly healing. And it's part of that holistic repairing yourself, physical and mental. And yeah, I think from seeing so many messages come back from people that have done some kind of art for the first time in years, and that it's meant something to them and it's healed them. And that was never my intention, was to heal people. I just wanted people to enjoy art as much as I enjoy art. And then I think I've sort of noticed how deeply this has affected people. So I think creativity has a huge power to heal. And, I love exploring that, and I want to explore that more. And, I'd love to heal the world with art. let's have small goals. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so true. I mean, that's what I do, healing with creativity. And I'm always talking about that dreaded P, process, right? Because it's not about the finished product.
Yeah.
It's about the process, and getting lost in that is, that sort of meditative creation. So important. So important.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
So then what inspires you in the work that you do?
Well, I think that probably comes back to the answer I had of the previous question. It's seeing how it's other people. I think seeing how other people react to what I do, whether that's coming on a course and somebody's been retired, they haven't picked up a pencil since they were at school, and they're always told they can't do art, it's not a job. And then just seeing them find that childlike joy again in the 80s, I'm just like, oh, that was worth it. For that one person finding that little spark, that was worth all the hard work, all the video uploading and editing and all the stuff and the process that goes on behind. I think that inspires me. Seeing other people inspires me. And also just, because I like making art for the sake of art. I don't do it to, sell my art and to be famous or to make money. It's none of that. It's just, I just love art. I think it's amazing. It's always been there. It's always been in my life. And I think it's just the one thing that sparks me, and I can't put a finger on why, other than it makes me feel good and it makes other people feel good. And I think, well, that can't be a bad thing in life.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're saying that, it's sort of about those aha moments that people have, or when they come back to you and say, oh my goodness, this happened for me, or, healed, or, whatever it is. And it seems like always on those days when I'm just feeling overwhelmed, I get that email from somebody. I'm like, oh, that's why I do what I do, right? That's why I do what I do.
Whatever you do, whenever you're dealing with, people generally, and, sometimes on like my sketchbook challenges, I'm dealing with thousands of people. So I get lots of administrative emails and I can't log into this or get to that. And so you're dealing with a lot of sort of bitty things that are not my favorite thing to do, that are administrative stuff. But then you'll get that one email from somebody and you'll just think, yes, that's why I do it. That's absolutely why I do it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do. So one of the things that constantly comes up for creatives and healers is about monetizing your work. So what are your thoughts on that?
I personally think it's a fabulous thing if you can earn a living from what you're passionate about. I think it is an interesting topic, and I think it is a topic that comes up regularly. And I often don't understand why, because people will train to be a doctor and earn money from that. That's their career. They get paid to heal people. Whereas when you're creating art, you're healing people in a different way, and you're offering something and you're earning a living from it. And often, not everybody earns a great income from doing, there's various income levels in every industry. Some people, earn small amounts of money and will, teach art or create prints, artworks, and, it's a part-time paying for that materials habit that you've got going on. So that obviously there's varying incomes, but I think if people can make a living, pay their bills, pay their mortgage, feed their children, have a roof under their heads from doing something that heals other people, that is actually really rather lovely. This is a very supportive, helpful, positive career and industry. And I don't feel that people should feel bad for making money from it, from earning a living from it. Nobody questions the supermarkets that, drive down prices, blah, blah, there's all the corporates. A lot of people don't often question that because there's the convenience of going to the supermarket from clicking on Amazon, etc., etc. And I have no, I'm not bashing anybody or any corporates or anything. I'm, each for their own, whatever. But I think it's sad that sometimes, small businesses and individuals, sometimes there's, criticism, or people expect them to do it for free because of the industry it's in. So I think it's a massive topic, and quite a difficult question. I personally, if I can earn a living from helping people and doing art, and that feeds my little girl and pays for my mortgage, and we're all happy, then I'm ethically absolutely fine with it.
Yeah. And I think it's really important. And this is one of the reasons I asked this question, is because I think it's really important for people to have sort of that understanding, because we all know about the starving artist archetype, right? Like artists don't make any money. And yet I surround myself with so many artists and healers who make a great living at it because, they value themselves. And I think that's super important. Because I think most people don't mind paying for what they're getting, right? I don't think, but it's whether or not you value yourself to put yourself out there and charge for it. And so that's one of the reasons I asked the question.
Yeah.
And
I think there's also, for many people, and I think this with any industry career, you're in it for the love of the career and the passion. Your overall aim is not to make the money. And if it is, it probably won't be your long-term career or passion, or it will do you in the end. You've got to love what you do. And I think if you love what you do, and you're right, absolutely, if you value your skills, your knowledge, your time, you need to charge for that. And I think I will always offer stuff for free because I like to give, but then also I need to earn money. So there will always be the paid element of my business, as well as always a massive big free stuff, because there's people that won't try it out because they're not confident and they need that encouragement. And I want to tease those people in and go, come on, you can do it. You can do this art stuff for free. Come on. We can do it. So, and I think that's really important to be able to give people the opportunity to have a go. And not go, have a go, but let me charge you. That doesn't sit well with me. But if I can get them going and then like, look, this has been so good for you. And I often offer donation systems for things, because then it's free for everybody who either can't afford it or doesn't want to pay for it, fine. But then also there is the option to donate. And when I do that, I often give a proportion to charity as well. So, and that sits ethically, morally well with me. And I think also that is important for every artist, business owner. You've got to do what's right for you, and what sits well with you, because if it sits well with you, that will show, and then people coming to you will value what you're giving out, because you're doing it in an ethically correct, I know that sounds very grand, but a way that sits well with you, and they'll see that sits well with you.
Aligning with your values, so that
absolutely.
Yeah. So what creative healing modality do you use the most for yourself?
It's a great question. I suppose I do lots of stuff. I mean, for me, it's just basic pencil sketching, just doodling. I think doodling is probably if I need healing, if I'm really stressed, burnt out, tired is the big one. I've got a toddler, she doesn't sleep. It's always tired is the big one, the big T in the house. It's just doodling, mindless, mindful doodling, opening a sketchbook, drawing nothing at all but something. And because I think if I sometimes go out to do a still life drawing or a print or a finished piece, there's almost too much thinking. So for me, it's very much the doodling, the sketching of nothing, you're doing something I could just throw away tomorrow that just makes me go, oh, that's okay. I've done something. It doesn't matter what I've done. I'm good. So I think that's what I find heals me, is just the simplest of simple stuff.
And that need to create, to release, right? Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say you're proudest of in your life?
I'm going to do the mum thing and go my little girl. I am so proud of her. I never thought I'd be a mum. I really didn't. So having her late 30s, now I'm in my 40s, and seeing this little 3.5, 4-year-old, I made a human, like, that's pretty epic. And I think I'm also proud of hopefully instilling my values in her, and hoping that she approaches the world in a creative, accepting way, because I think with every generation stuff gets better, our knowledge gets better, our understanding of other people gets better. And seeing her create art, she's taught me stuff, and I'm seeing her just pure creativity and having a go, and just if I can just help one little person be so open and creative thinking from such a young age, because they're just these tiny little sponges, and they teach you so much more than you teach them, making it all up, but Aren't we all?
Yeah, absolutely. It's so funny. My kids are much older now. They have kids of their own. They're in their 30s. So
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's
I just can't imagine my 3-4-year-old being that grown up.
Well, and then you get to do it again with the grandkids and not be so tired, right? Not to be so, just get to enjoy the part. So
I must admit,
if I could have chosen,
having a whale of a time being the grandparents. They absolutely love it. They do all the fun stuff and they're like, goodbye, you've got nighttime.
Exactly. I love that. It makes parenting so worthwhile. All the difficulties. You haven't gotten to the teenage years yet.
No,
but
not
all
yet.
Those difficulties. So it reminds you why you had them.
Yeah.
So if you could change one aspect of our society through your work, what would that be?
I think having my small limited experience of teaching people, working with people creatively, I think if I can help people express themselves more or better, and also not to worry so much about expressing themselves or judging themselves and what people think, I think that would be a really wonderful thing. I think something that you see a lot with people coming to art for the first time is the inhibitions, oh, this isn't very good, I'm not very good at this, I'm not creative. And they'll often counter that with, I'm not creative, but I do this, and this. And I'm like, that's really creative. And what they mean is, I've not done pencil drawing before. And if you've never picked up a pencil and done drawing before, you're not going to have the technical skill that someone that has been doing it for 30 years might. It's a skill thing. It's not a creativity thing. And I think I've seen in the last 4 years, and close friends of mine and family as well, that have had that viewpoint of, I'm not creative, I can't do this, I'm scared to express myself, I'm scared to try, worried about what other people say, apologize for their own sort of work or choices of what to draw. And I think, if what I do helps some people express themselves better, and I had a message from a chap yesterday who's saying that his wife is part of one of the groups that I run, and the art has been great, but it's also given her general confidence, and she's expressing herself better and she's happy in herself. I just think, wow, if I could do that to everyone, that they could then express themselves, be confident with expressing themselves and not worrying about what other people say, I think that would be a very positive step forward for the world, to not judge oneself, not judge others, but also be able to express yourself, not just creatively, but just generally your opinions. I think sometimes we can be a very image-based culture and a very we can be a little afraid. Lots of people aren't afraid to say what they want, and that's great. But sometimes there are a lot of people worried about, if I say this, I'll get judged for it. So more sort of, I hope that makes sense. More, if people can express themselves more, I think that'd be a wonderful thing.
Yeah, all about stepping into your authenticity, right?
Yeah, and absolutely.
Yeah. I and that's one of the things that I work with women on, is that stepping into your authenticity and being able to express yourself. And absolutely. Creativity is such a way to do that, right? And
I think it's very brave to express yourself creatively, and then to show people, because I always think, like, my sketchbooks, they're my private space to play. And I think over the last couple of years where I've been showing people my sketchbooks, it's like I'm showing my soul. And, that is quite a bold step for a lot of people, to show your thoughts and to express it to other people. So, yeah, absolutely. It is quite a big step to take that step and be brave.
And I think it's really all about learning to share in the right setting, right? So you're not just maybe gonna throw up your first drawing on your Facebook page. Maybe you will, but if you have a group of people who are all on the same journey, and you're encouraging each other, and you're learning from each other, I think that's so important. So I think also learning to express yourself is learning boundaries, right?
Yes.
And learning where your safe spaces are and learning what's best for you. So I think all of that.
And I think
goes
that
together.
safe space thing is really important. I think as a host, a facilitator, a teacher, that's what you're always striving to achieve, a safe space. Whether it's on a face-to-face course, whether there's a small group of people and everyone's learning something, and sometimes things go wrong. Technically, something goes wrong. You do something you don't expect to, but you're in a safe space and it doesn't matter and you learn from it. And whether it's face-to-face or for a lot of things nowadays, it's online, virtual, as long as there's that safe space, I think that helps to facilitate the expression and the stepping into your power, or however you want to phrase it. I think that's something I'm always striving to find out the best way to create that safe space for people.
I think for myself, because as again facilitator, teacher, all of that, you want that safe space, but I think the more you set those boundaries in your own self, like this is a free expression. I screw up a lot and you're going to see me screw up a lot, so whether it's the technical aspects, whether it's like, oh, I just spilled paint all over everything, I'm a huge klutz, so
I'm proper messy and impatient, so I always want to do these like perfect prints, and there'll be this massive fingerprint on the side. You're like, but then
exactly.
We're humans. Of course we're humans. We're not machines. I'm not a printing press. I'm not a machine. Like, none of us are. It's like, we're humans. So, and celebrate that. That's what makes this stuff unique and sometimes hilariously funny too.
Exactly. And when you share that with people, then they are, oh, okay, she could screw up. I can screw up. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay to screw up.
Yeah. So imposter syndrome is something that, again, creatives have a real tough time with. I think women in general have a tough time with imposter syndrome. Yeah. So what has been your experience with that, and how do you deal with it?
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. And I do agree with you. I think it's, there's lots of studies and statistics that will say that it affects women more than men. If you've got a job, how many women would apply for it and men, depending on experience levels. We want to have 100% of qualifications, whereas men are like, yeah, I'll have a go. I'm halfway there. That's great. That is a massive generalization, but there are statistics that back that up. And I think imposter syndrome, yes, it is something that I think it does come into my mind. It does affect me at times, because I always want to be, whatever I'm doing or delivering, I want to have had the training or be completely confident in what I'm doing. And I think I've just learnt that I'm not an imposter in my own head, because I am my own head. I'm if I do things with sort of genuine passion and belief, and I'm just doing my best, then that's okay. And I think this is something that comes with experience, and I'm not old, but it comes with age. I think being in my 40s, I'm very different to how I would have been in my 20s. The first time I ever taught a printmaking class to a bunch of people, I was 23. I was petrified. I had to neck a glass of wine before I taught, because I was absolutely shaking, thinking, I can't teach. I don't have experience. I've not done a teacher training. And it's like, I taught the class and it was absolutely fine. Everyone had a great time. And I just think, if you can teach and people gain from it, then that's not an imposter. You've just taught. You have the skills. So I think I've learned to care less. I don't know. I don't worry so much about what people think. And I think that's a big thing. I think there's a lot of mindset. And I think the more you do things, the more comfortable you become. And I'm also quite happy saying sometimes, I'm learning this, I'm not an expert. I think just being honest and straightforward, and just expressing myself how, genuinely, I think helps with that. But yeah, there's definitely times I wake up and go, oh my God, I'm not an artist. I'm telling people I'm an artist. This is ridiculous. I'm just me playing in my studio with paints and pens. And people think I'm an artist. And then I have my coffee and go, oh, well, I'm just going to rock that and never mind. And, there'll be those highs and lows. And it will obviously affect more people than others. Some people will get deeply affected by it. others it's up and down. But I think it's something that will always be there for me. I don't know. I think it'll always be there. But most of the time I think I beat it.
Yeah, I think for me, like when just thinking about it as you were speaking, it's it keeps me in check, right? It keeps me trying to do the best I can, but then also being aware that you know, I'm human.
Yeah.
And I do call myself an artist. I can't draw. I've been working on that. I've been taking your sketchbook challenges for a while now, and so you know, I work on it, but I'm an abstract artist, so I'm still an artist. The fact that I put paint on paper, I'm an artist.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have to just remind ourselves of those things.
And there's, you know, this stuff that I can't do. Like I've never done painting. I've never painted. I've always been a printmaker. So I've never picked up an oil paint in my life. I'm not that great at drawing people and faces. I just don't do it. So, but then I wouldn't say I'm less of an artist because I don't do a certain thing. It's just, that's not my specialism. And I think I've kind of learned that with time that, you know, you can't do everything. You can't be a specialist in pencil, in pen, in oils, in acrylics, in abstracts. You can't do everything. You have to have your specialism because, you know, I don't know, you'd never get anything done. I mean, I know I do a lot of things, but you know, and I think most creative people do. We dabble a lot, and that fuels and makes you a very well-rounded human if you pick up lots of things. And you know, we're all multifaceted. We're not, you know, single-minded. I only do this and that's it. We are multifaceted beings, but you know, there will be things you're not technically good at, but that doesn't mean that you're not an artist. Absolutely agree with you there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So do you have an inspirational quote that you live by?
I tend to sort of have a like a mantra or a quote each year that is my sort of thing for what I'm focusing on that year. This year is create, don't consume. I think one thing that I can be very guilty of is looking at other people's work too much, because I love looking at other people's work. I love what other people do and seeing people that have just these amazing skills in things. And then all of a sudden I go down this little rabbit hole and I want to be them and learn everything about what they're doing. And I think this year, my big focus is to create and do more of my own work, and do a lot more printmaking. I was very fortunate to move house just before lockdown in March last year, and I've finally got my own studio space after not having one for several years. So I've now got my printing press set up. I've got space to create and make a mess, and no one's going to judge me or say, clear that up, we need dinner on this table right now. So I think for me, I've got space to explore and create, and it's for me that it's the process of creating, and I just want to churn stuff out. I'm not aiming to sell, you know, this many prints or produce anything for this exhibition. I'm just creating for the pure enjoyment of it. I'm actually doing what I tell other people to do. So for me, that's my creative quote this year. But I think in terms of a proper quote from an actual artist, it's the Picasso one. Every child is an artist. The problem is how to remain an artist when he grows up. Twofold, because I truly believe that we are born creative. Our minds are sponges. We are able to create, to make. That's what makes humans human, is our ability to create, to invent things. But I think teaching adults in particular, and beginner adults coming to creativity, my thing is how to get adults to stay creative like they were when they were toddlers. And I think I've always loved teaching people coming back to art or starting art, having never done it at school. It is finding that inner child, finding that playfulness, that creativity that is there, because we all have it in some form. And I think that is what inspires me, is finding that inner child. So that's my kind of proper quote that is really means something for me. But then every year I have a personal mantra or a phrase or a saying that I sort of live by, that sits with me for that year.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I think it's important to have those personal messages for ourselves, right? So whether it's
regularly, because you're at different stages all the time, because we are humans, we change, we evolve, we learn. So, what was great for me 20 years ago, 10 years ago, last year is different this year. So I think you have to understand yourself and the growth from, where you were before to now. And I'm very much somebody that likes to put myself out of my comfort zone. I love a challenge. I love to learn something new, because I think when you step out of your comfort zone, that's when the magic happens. So I'm constantly setting myself new things, new challenges, raising the bar. Every time I get something, right, do it twice now, or do it this more. I'm that kind of person.
Well, oh, absolutely. I completely understand that, because I'm always, I feel like I'm shifting and changing all the time. And so, you have to sort of
absolutely. It's so
grow with that
too.
Yeah. So is there anything else you'd like to share that maybe we haven't discussed today?
No, I think we've had quite a good in-depth discussion, really. I think we've put the world to rights. I think we've solved the world through art today. So no, I don't think so. I think there's just such a lot that can be gained through creativity art. And I think especially, it's been a very difficult year or so for a lot of people. And I think a lot of people have turned to art in the last 12 months or so that have not done it before, because they've been searching for something to do and stumbled upon some kind of art. And I think that's been a really wonderful thing, that there are so many more people creating than there were 2-3 years ago. And I hope that grows and continues, that, when we get back to seeing people, that actually people are off to real life art classes to go and share and travel journal. And I had a whole course on travel journaling I wanted to do, and I was like, okay, cancel that. No one's going anywhere.
One day Monday it will happen.
I will go and travel, and I'll go and sketch the world. But no, I don't think so. I think we've talked about loads of fabulous things. So no, thank you so much.
Well, I want to thank you so much for being here. I loved our conversation. So
no, it's been really great. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, to our listeners, we will see you again next week. And in the meantime, I wish for you amazingly creative days. Are you a daily journaler? Do you want more creativity in your day? We have 2 great creativity journals to start your day with. One for people who already have a journaling practice, and one for people who are new to journaling. Both are an amazing way to start your day. Both make the perfect gift for a person in your life. Check out Have an Amazingly Creative Day and How Do I Have an Amazingly Creative Day? Both currently available on Amazon. Click the link below to purchase yours now.